Hello, everyone. We just wanted to come on here and do a quick intermission before this week's video starts. The time of this filming that we decided to input this video is June 9th, and one of the things that the Latino community is experiencing is the ice raids that is occurring all over California, but we are specifically focusing on what's occurring in LA County, which is where we reside in.
We just wanted to come on here to show our support and let you guys know that you guys are seeing and everything that's
Mm-hmm.
happening. Like people that are not directly in the city but are getting affected by it because, like we said, it's not just in LA. These are just what people are posting and publishing, and there's different like places like in Cali that are being targeted. I want to say very unfortunate. However, I feel like at this time it's very important to stress the importance of educating yourself on what you can do if these situations were to ever encounter you, as we're seeing through social medias. It's not just your homes that they're coming and invading with no warrant, but it's also you can be out and about at a grocery store getting a quick bite at Carl's Jr. They're quite literally everywhere. Um, for kids and families that are directly getting affected or could directly get affected, please do all you can to support your family. Do as much as you can to
Educate yourself, know your rights.
mhm.
Just we just felt that it was so important to do a quick intermission and add this clip because we come from a bloodline of Mexicans and Salvadorians. Like that runs in through our veins. And it is so important to speak up for the people who are in fear of speaking up, who are in fear of having ICE come at their doors and knocking at their doors or coming through their business. We speak for the voiceless.
Mhm.
And it is so important to, even if we don't have a big platform, to still be here and show our support. And we understand that though we don't condone the violence that is occurring in
Mhm.
LA County and everything that's occurring during this time that we are filming this, we understand it. And for those who don't understand it, it's so much more than just
Oh, just
protesting.
just go back to, then why don't you just go back to where you're from? It's so much more than that.
I see so many comments that are saying, "Oh, waving the Mexican flag and in the US, then go back to your country." No, that's where it should stop because
Or let me say something. Do some history, just like we said, educate yourself, and if you're not trying to educate yourself for those reasons of protection, but do, if you're on the opposite understanding of things, and you just don't get it, or you're just having a hard issue connecting the dots as to why we're acting the way that our communities are acting, and like, what is it,
the
that
outlash,
outlash
the
that's happening,
backlash,
the
yeah.
backlash. um Understand that these are people that it goes deeper, but there's kids at elementary schools that are graduating and their parents are running away because they hear, oh, ICE is outside. The kids are in shock, don't know what's happening. Some kids are returning home with no family there.
Mhm.
There's so many hardworking Hispanic men that are going out and still working to provide for their family, and there's been so many situations where the pillar of a lot of Hispanic households don't come back,
Mhm.
and it's a domino effect, and it's so heartbreaking to see the mothers and the children have to maneuver life with their pillar gone, you get what I'm saying,
Yeah.
or grandparents, and the way they're handling them, it's just so much hurt on top of so much hurt. And like my sister
And
said,
anger too.
we're not for the violence. We know that there's also innocent bystanders that are also getting hurt, or innocent businesses that are getting vandalized because of the situation. So we're not for it. However, we do understand, and just know, like, our community is mad. We are hurt. We have been stripped from our families, from our relatives, from our neighbors, from people that we know, from relationships, people that we've grown up seeing. Like, it's just not right. I guess we were saying just
Have compassion.
mhm,
If you don't understand it, then go out there and educate yourself. Find the reason why this topic has become so huge worldwide. It's just years and years of hurt and anger of minority groups, and it's much more than put yourself in our shoes or in their shoes of you going home or going to work and then suddenly someone coming and taking you away from family. Like, picture your parents or anyone being ripped away from you without a trace, and you're left to then figure it out on your own. It's hurt, it's anger,
confusion.
it's so much that is happening in our communities, and we just felt it was important to, before we start this video, to shed light into the situation and understand that this is so much more than just me and you.
And I would like to add before we close this off, if you are closed minded and you do feel like, well, why are you waving a Mexican flag on
On
US
US
ground?
soil. Mm-hmm.
Do some research, do some investigation, and you would find out that half, I think it's half of California, Arizona, Texas, and even some of Florida was all considered Mexico at one point. And who came to declare what is whose? Oh, okay. So if we're really gonna talk about it, we already talk about the whole natives and like
Yeah,
but
it's
what about the
stolen land.
Aztecs? What about our people and our history?
Yeah.
Just educate yourself on that too.
And without further ado, just to our community, we hear you, we see you, and most importantly, we stand by you. Que vive la raza, and may God bless us all.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our podcast, Heavenly Enlightened. This is episode 7, and in today's video, we'll be talking about kind of what happens behind closed doors in the systems, good things, bad things. But at least for today, I think we're going to stay on the track of like more of the negative things that we've
Yes.
experienced. And it's not just to bring light onto it, but hopefully, well, at least I know we have at least one social worker watching. So hopefully, it could impact that group.
Yes. As well as foster parents. Like, just to know, like, that you also do have a big impact on the child that you choose to let into your home.
hmm
So, I'm excited for this episode.
I have a lot to
Oh,
say.
I have a lot to say
I'm
too.
ready.
Ooh, the trauma's about to get traumaing.
Yeah,
Mm. All right. So, should we start on the foster parents that we spent the longest with?
the first one.
The first one.
I think we should do like kind of like a timeline type of feel,
Yes.
like our
Just to let,
first one,
yeah.
second, third. But there is a time where we do split up. So maybe if there's like,
Yeah, so I can explain it. So, as if you haven't watched our first episode, go watch that now because you're missing a lot of key details when we're
hmm
talking about this. Um, 7 years old, I was placed, well, we were, I was 7 years old, placed into the foster care system for these with these foster parents for 3 years. After these 3 years, our mom regained custody. I was 10, Wendy was then 7. Mom lost custody, and then me and Wendy were placed back into the same foster care with these foster parents for another 6 years. In that 6 years, when we were replaced back into foster care, the two younger ones were later placed into a different home and later adopted by their side of the family.
hmm
So this is the with these foster parents technically 9 years, right? 6,
8 or 9. hmm
8 or 9 years, yeah. So we spent a lot with them, a
hmm
lot of things. So tell me about them. Tell me about these foster parents. What do you remember?
Like I
And
said, we are go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Uh we are talking like the main topic is the negatives, but this is
Yeah.
not to say that it was all this, that everything we're
Yes.
saying is it was just that like 24/7. No. Um yeah, I just wanted to emphasize that before we get into it because I remember a lot of things as a
Oh, a
kid.
lot of things. And I like that you just to emphasize again that this isn't just all negative things,
Mhm.
but this main episode is about talking about the negative things.
Yeah.
So,
So I guess I'll start off with, let's see, which one do I want to get into? I guess. Ooh.
Oh. A light bulb just went on in your head. I just like saw it flash.
I don't. Okay, so you may remember this or may not, and this
Okay.
is. Yeah, this is about our dad.
Okay.
So this is a timing after we left our mom and went back into the system. So this
Okay.
is what I mean. Like, it might be these things that we're bringing up. It'll be random, meaning it could either be in the beginning, like those first, what, 3 years,
3 years.
or those 6 years. So this
Yeah.
specific one, it was after dad's passing, 2011.
So within the 6 year frame. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. I feel as a foster parent, you may be sheltering
Okay.
or doing a little bit
Too much.
too much, right? And I feel like in this situation that I'm going to speak about, it was after our dad's passing.
Okay.
And mind you, we were with this family, or at least in my perspective, I was there when I was 3 or 4. So to me, I don't remember them ever pushing the agenda of I'm your mom and this is your dad.
Yeah.
But I think it just kind of naturally happened. We were, at least for me, like I was in kinder, first grade, and I would
Yeah,
see and
when we
hear
were
my
first
friends.
introduced into them, yeah.
So to me, it just kind of fell naturally. But I feel like because, and this is just my perspective, I'm not saying this is how he felt, but because we kind of like, he was our dad, he was before Benny, before our father figure, he was the first type of figure, male, like a father kind of, in the sense of a foster home having a mother and a father in that way,
Okay.
because we didn't have a household where there was a stable female and male together.
Yeah.
So the example of a father was there. And after his passing, I remember he didn't necessarily have too much to say that was positive about him. And I
Mm.
remember he had said, like, basically, like, oh, like, why do you love that cholo so much? Like, basically, like,
Cholo is a
he,
gangbanger for
yeah,
people.
like, why is it that you like have so much love for this person? And mind you, this is what I'm
Mm.
saying, like, I feel like you shouldn't, like, I get you're trying to shelter, maybe he was trying to shelter because we didn't have that example, we weren't around gangs and
Mhm.
people of affiliation that happened until we were in our mom's care.
Yeah.
But you don't know what this, he didn't know the severity and what big role and what big, like,
Yeah.
role he played for us. And for you to sit here and, I don't know,
Give your
like,
opinion.
and you
Yeah.
don't know him, like,
Yeah.
I didn't like that. Like, I
Mm.
get he might have not been the best example,
Yeah.
but that's not to say that it doesn't matter or I shouldn't have love for this person. I just
Mhm.
remember it just, like, it stuck to me.
So it's stereotypical of like just what people pursued dad to be. And
Mhm.
we talked about it in his episode, like because of like the tattoos, the way he dressed, his mannerism, like so many people portrayed him as one thing when in reality he was so much more than just
That.
yeah, just of what people could see. And I understand dad in that level because um well, I'm not dressed like the way I usually dress, but the tattoos are very prominent. Like that's the first thing that everyone sees. When I had red hair,
Mhm.
that's the first thing that people see. When I had my eyebrows pierced, like that's what people first see. And it's like you're pursued to be just of based on your looks when no one really touches based on like the impact that you leave on this world and like
Mhm.
the just the type of person you are internally.
Right.
So that's crazy that he would say that. I don't remember. No, I do remember the talk about like why do you have so much care for um this cholo, but I don't think it was such a big impact on me like a different instant or like different examples that I think I have.
I think it did for me because, like, on our last episode of the boundaries, I had touched a little bit of like how with him, like, I wasn't allowed to speak because he
Yeah.
would be like, no, 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 and 10 panas, and 20, and
Yeah.
30, and 40. So I feel like when he was asking those questions, I don't remember if he did, but I don't feel, because when I think of it, I have this tightness in my chest, and I feel like maybe I was trying to explain or defend our dad, and he
Yeah.
was very, that person, that parental figure was, hopefully he's different, I don't know, but was very closed-minded at the time, and it was very much my mindset is right and your opinion is wrong. So I feel like those two things played a part into maybe having that like effect on me. I'm feeling
Yeah.
like I'm trying to defend him, but no matter what, he's just like, nah, nah,
Yeah.
like,
Like your opinion doesn't matter or
yeah.
what you say doesn't matter. That's crazy, sister.
And I don't think there was ever like a safe place, even after like, I would think, I'm pretty sure the workers would have,
Hmm.
that would have made it into the report of someone passing
Yeah.
as part of the trauma that we experienced while getting removed from our mom.
Yeah.
Because it was literally like 3 days after, like not even a
Yeah.
week had passed. And I don't know if they were never, well, they had to be informed if he knew about him. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. There was just never a space where grieving was allowed, or not allowed, but like, I don't know, like it
Like
was
yeah,
never, are
like a
you
safe,
okay? How are
yeah.
you? I know it hurts. They're not gone. Like, there was never that conversation.
Yeah.
It was
To
very
have a
just
morning.
why, like very, why do you have these feelings towards him? And very passive with his
Mm,
passing.
that that would rub me the wrong way.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
Mhm.
I'm sorry you were made to feel that way. Um oh, yeah. That family, I this is why we said, I'm just going to emphasize it again. This episode is based on the negative aspects of the foster system. I'm not saying that these foster families were all bad because they had their good moments, but
Mhm.
this episode specifically is just based on the bad. And one of the things that I would love to talk about is something that I had, because you mentioned that was something personal for you. um, One of the big things when I think about this foster family, I think about growing up with them. I was 10 years old when we were placed again with them. So I was preteen. Well, not even preteen because I was 10. So once I turned 13, then I'm a preteen. But
What were you in middle school?
yeah, I think so. I don't know,
Mhm.
elementary, middle school. But
Because we went to Bay Elementary. We were in elementary. Were
oh,
we in
so I don't
elementary?
know.
I don't know.
That's too many calculations. When he be thinking that I'm like the math person in this.
It's because I'm a visual learner,
I
so
just
like when we're saying things, I don't know if the audience has caught up, but like sometimes I'll just like stare off to the distance. I'm not staring off to the distance. I'm imagining what she's saying. I'm imagining the house, the school.
yeah.
So, but whatever 10-year-old school class
Yeah.
thing we were in, that's where we were in. Uh huh.
But it wasn't even at 10 years old. It was when I started turning 14, 15. And it was during that was when obviously you're at that age, you're developing, you're growing, you're maturing. Well, not even maturing, but you're just developing. Like, you're eating everything because you're growing. Like,
Mhm.
you're getting to that age where you're growing and you're eating everything in sight. And that's normal. That is 100% normal for that age. Um, but one of the major things that I feel like left such a big impact, even into my adulthood, was, I don't know if you remember, but he would make these comments. And mind you, it was a Mexican traditional household, so there was pan dulce, there was
Tamales,
tamale, yes,
champorrado,
like all that good,
bolis,
just so good.
rompopes. I can go on and
Yes, yes,
on.
the
Arroz con
bolillos,
leche,
yes.
gelatinas. Oh my god. Ah, bolillo. Everything.
Everything that you can think of. There's just so much good, like the Mexican candy. There was just so much.
The aguas
The
frescas.
aguas frescas, like, we can make a whole episode of
Yes.
food at this point. Like, okay, so we're surrounded by our culture,
Mhm.
and I would eat everything in sight. Like, again, I'm growing, I'm hungry, I'm developing, so I'm eating everything in sight. And he would make. Are you gonna say something? Go ahead.
I was also gonna say, and mind you too, I feel like important to remember because we were so food deprived in that
Yeah.
year. I feel like when we went back, it was just like overeating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point to put. Okay.
Yeah, that's
But yeah, so I was overeating everything,
mhm.
and I was already a teenager, so of course I was eating everything in sight. So I was 14, 15 at this point. Um and he
So
made
from 10 to 14?
no, so skip those years. At 14 is when I started, cuz I would eat, but like at that age, like when you're developing a lot, you're
So
overeating.
why'd you say 10?
10 because
Girl, I just tried doing the fucking math of what like class we would be in,
oh,
and now you're saying 14?
I don't know why you would over. Yeah, you confused me on
No,
that
no,
part.
no, no. Roll the clip. Yeah, because
Because I
you
was trying to
said,
put them in the mindset of like I was 10 years when we went back with them. I was 10 years old,
uh huh.
so I'm skipping forward to 14, 15 years old of age.
Okay.
Eh,
Leave a like if you're following along with her, because I'm confused. But okay, you're
okay,
14.
14.
Uh huh.
Okay, 14 years old with them because we were with them until I was 16, so 6 years from the age of 10 till 16.
I like how you're still trying to explain it to me when I literally just heard you sit there and say, oh, well, technically, that's not preteen, right? Because preteen would be 13, it would be 12, 12 would be preteen. Therefore, you said 10 because you were arguing about 13 being preteen. And now you're saying you're 14. So were you preteen or were you already a teen? Like, what?
Okay. All right. Well, I was 14.
14. Okay.
Our makeup's running off at this point. Okay, I was 14,
Uh-huh.
and he would make these comments of, and I don't know if you were ever there to witness it, but again, I was overeating, and he'd make these comments that really fed into my body dysmorphia now
Mhm.
and my eating disorder now.
Mhm.
And he would just say, like, oh, Daisy, si sigues comiendo así, ¿ves esa puerta? Vamos a cortarla más para que
Oh
quepas.
yeah.
So for the English, if you Daisy, if you keep overeating the way you're overeating, you see that door over there? We're gonna have to cut it so that you can fit into it.
That's fucked up.
Oh, and I remember and it was like when I would be mid bite, and the moment that he would say that, it's just like I would put down my food, and it would hurt me. Like it would hurt hearing that. Or another instance of him would say like, and to him it was funny. He think this was like a laughing matter, but to
Mhm.
me it's like words that sunk into me of like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm getting fat is what you're telling me.
Mhm.
Or he would look at me and say, Daisy, si sigues comiendo así, te vamos a tener que how do you say it? Like we would have to roll you in to the house.
Yeah.
Like you're getting so like, so he would make me feel like, you know that, have you ever watched Willy Wonka?
The
The purple girl where she
mhm.
like
Mhm.
explodes. That's what he would make me feel like.
Mhm.
And I was 120 pounds. I wasn't like overweight, but he would make me feel like I was like 600 pounds.
Sister,
What?
I'm like 120.
That's a perfect representation. He would make me feel like I was overly weight. Yeah.
That's traumatic.
Yeah.
That could really fuck with your mind.
Exactly. So he would say these things and he would laugh about it. So at some point, like hearing these things over and over again, it like gets into your
Yeah.
head of I'm fat, I'm eating too much. So he would tell me, "Oh, go exercise." And he was the type that wouldn't let us stay out over
Mhm.
after school to do extracurricular activities. Nope, it was from school to home, school to home. We weren't allowed to go out with friends. So when he told me to exercise, our yard was pretty decent,
Mhm.
like, but it wasn't enough to like
really run.
run.
Yeah.
So I would attempt to run around and run around. And then when I would finish my workout, like I would try to do the sit ups or whatever I could, like to, try to get into shape
Mhm.
because in my head it's that I'm fat. So I need to stop eating and I need to get into shape. So I would exercise and then after I would finish my workout, him and his nuera, how do you say nuera in English? Daughter in law?
Yeah.
Daughter in law would laugh at me and they would say, "Oh, you call that exercising? Your little runs, you call that exercising? Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, you're working out for sure." And again, it was met with more negativity,
Yeah.
more like, "Am I not doing good enough?" Like, it was so traumatic to just see that. Or like if I would go get a pan dulce, because there was always pan dulce, so I would go get, and it was late at night. He would look at me and he's like, "Lo vas a comer?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
You're gonna eat it? Is what it translates to.
yeah." And he'd be like, "Oh, okay. Like, if that's what you want, okay." And I would just always put away the pan dulce and put it back.
Mm.
Yeah. That's the one thing that I can say really, really stuck with me growing up. And I feel like I struggle so much with food now. And I struggle so much with just feeling like I know I'm losing weight, but it's not good enough. Because if 120 was fat for him, then I'm fucking obese.
Bye. Bye.
That's, look
Yeah.
at yourself. You're telling me that 120 is fat? Like, that's crazy. And I was 14, 15.
And that's what I'm saying, like the fact that, because that could really, like, I don't know, like the way you see yourself has effects,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just how you see yourself. Now imagine the people that you live with, right? The people that you see on a day-to-day basis, the people that are supposed to breathe life into you and encourage you. Not to say that they didn't for other things, but like, I don't know, just hearing your experience, like in my head, like after being told that and me trying, like I remember like you would even buy like those suits, like the sweatsuits,
Uh-huh.
and you would, like, I remember you washing it and hanging it and like everything, and you would run and it was hot out, and you would be, I remember like when there was days, did you ever do the saran wrap thing? I
Yeah.
remember someone taking off like a saran wrap and it was just like sweat, and if it
Yeah.
was you, you were like excited, you're like, oh, like, and like I don't know, like putting myself in your position and thinking like, okay, not only did it affect you to a point where you actually started taking action, believing what they're saying and actually working out, but
Mm-hmm.
then to be met with like, oh, you think that's working out? Because I remember her saying that, and I remember she was doing this like army program, and
Yeah.
she tried to get you like into it or like wanting to do it. But yeah, like just thinking about that, like that would make me like almost like embarrassed to even try, because even when I'm trying, like I'm getting mocked or like
Yeah.
it's not good enough. So then what's the whole point? But if you don't do anything and you continue being you, then you also get kind of like, you're gonna eat that? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right. Like I really internalized their words.
Mhm.
And I just remember like when he would say that and they would laugh about it, I remember just going to the room or going to the restroom and just like silently crying because it was like, well, or he would take us out to like breakfast if we would go to church on them, and it was like he would buy us the breakfast platter, but I could feel him like judging me as I ate. And it was like, okay, then I would just put down and be like, oh, our mom would be like, oh, you're not gonna eat it on? No, I'm full. I'm okay. And just getting into that mindset of like that I'm fat and that I'm always gonna be fat no matter how much I try or I work out.
Listen here, I'm just kidding. Let me tell you something, okay? Because when was the last time you weighed yourself? Yeah, let's check your history. Yeah, don't you got diabetes? Oh, okay. Yeah, no, 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 no. That is crazy, sister. That's a lot to like deal with.
Mhm.
One, as a, like you said, like 10, 14-year old, And like, at that age you're starting to develop. There's questions, insecurities, new things,
Mhm.
and then like maneuvering that, like I said, I wasn't in that situation. I didn't get that perspective of things or get that experience. But I do remember seeing you like trying to take action, and I do remember those comments. And I remember laughing at it because I didn't think it was that serious. Like I
Yeah.
thought it was a joke, but when someone is continuously like putting this image onto you of this is what you are, this is what you are, at some point you're just like, okay.
That's
And
what I
like we
am.
said, you're growing up, so you're seeing different people and you're like comparing and contrasting, and then you go home and then
Yeah.
mm-mm.
It really messed me up because like I would go to school and I would see these skinny bitty girls who were
Mhm.
just like into sports and it's like, oh, and then I would go home and hear that I wasn't good enough and that
Mhm.
I needed to eat less and it was like society does a really good job at like even now I feel like it's more so like back then when we were growing up there was no phones like
Mhm.
there was phones but there was like
There was
the
no Instagram, Snapchat, social
yeah, like that
medias.
social media.
Mhm.
The closest that thing I had to contacting my friends was Wattpad. Like that was the
Mhm.
closest thing we got to any social media. But now it's like I bet it's even 10 times even worse for girls growing up because I just remember it back then the effect it had to me. Like hearing that from family members, hearing that I was fat I can only imagine how much harder it is now, and I still struggle with it. And it's crazy
Mhm.
because something that happened years ago, I'm bringing it along with me that I still have this idea of, oh, I'm eating this. That's a lot of calories, and I went over my calories. Or I'm working out, but I'm not seeing that weight drop. Like maybe I'm not good enough.
And when we were talking like before the podcast, you had mentioned a point. Hopefully you remember it to like reiterate it. But you had said something about uh, I'm trying to learn to. You're kind of like basically you said something about basically going off of as long as I'm healthy versus what the weight says. Like you were
Oh
saying,
yeah.
like.
Yeah, cuz I had said that it's like I said, we always have these conversations prior to hitting record on this. I had just said like I had therapy this morning and I had said like I'm trying to learn to because I catch myself counting the calories or I catch myself restricting myself of things that I want. Like I really wanted a milkshake last night, but I didn't get it because then I would feel worse about myself today.
Mhm.
So like I feel myself or like I stopped myself because I knew I would go down a really bad rabbit hole, but I had gotten this calorie counter app and I was taking pictures of my food, counting my calories, and there was a subscription for $20 for the whole year to count my calories. And I looked at Stephanie, which Stephanie's my partner, and I was like, it's only $20 and like it would keep me on track with my calories. And she didn't want to say anything, but she's like, oh, well, it's your money, like if you want it. And I had to stop myself because I was like, I'm gonna go down a really, really sick rabbit hole. And I shouldn't be counting my calories that excessively. So I deleted the app and I didn't download it again. But I'm trying to learn to be like, I trying to tell myself I don't want to be skinny. I just want to be healthy. I don't want to be skinny. I just want to be strong. Like that's the mindset I'm trying to reiterate because for so long,
It
that
was you
foster
had to be
family,
like
you
this.
had to be skinny to not be like to fit into their box.
And then too, like at least like our family history, like we come from very, 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 very thick girls. Like
Mhm.
they're not big, but they're thick. Like we're just thick boned. Like our grandma, our aunts, our mom,
Yeah,
like
you see these caderas, they come from that side of our
there you
family.
go. It's not, I don't think it's like, it also has to do with your genetics. So like
Yeah.
sitting there trying to tell someone like this is their body, this is how, and it's there's nothing wrong with it, but trying to imply this mentality onto a young kid,
Mhm.
like I said, we get you guys were maybe trying to do what you thought was best, but this is our perspective and how we took it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's also like depleting.
Yeah. And traumatizing. And like the way you said it's like the delivery of things. Like if you think I was getting too much, gaining too much weight or like going down like a that I'm overeating, there's a way of saying like, "Hey, I see you really like pan dulce a lot, and that's really good. How about we incorporate some fruits with it? Or
Yeah.
incorporate something else. Like, oh, you got a sweet tooth? How about we drizzle some hot, like dark chocolate on top of fruit?
Mhm.
That'd be such a good sweet treat."
That's so different versus sitting there and like putting someone down, even when they're doing what they asked you to do, which is
Hmm.
go work out. But now it's not good enough.
And even the workout, like instead of laughing about it, you call that like exercising. Being like, I'm so proud of you for working out.
Mhm.
Like, I see that you've been consistent 5 days. I think you deserve something. Do you want to go get your hair done or your nails done or
Mhm.
something to be encouraging? But being met with mockery is just, it just, like I said, I took that and it's led into my adulthood.
Mhm. And I
Yeah.
do want to say, just for that family, like that's why I said like trying to put myself in your position, because like you said, like you would do your runs like at the house, but
Hmm.
there was also times where he would kind of do what you said, which was be a little bit like encouraging, and he would take us to like that college to run around, and he
Yeah.
would also be there running around with us. So that's what I'm saying, like trying to put myself in your perspective, since I seen all of that and I remember all of that, for it to be it's just like a complicated relationship, and maybe
Hmm.
that's why you like battle with it, because it's like, okay, you're sitting there saying I'm not doing enough, you're bringing me down with your words, yet here you are being encouraging but in a different way. Now you're supportive, like there's almost not that safe space
Yeah.
to feel encouraged,
Yeah.
because it was like you never knew if like, okay, am I slower than you? Because I remember too, when we would run, he would be like, oh, I'm 40 something years old and I'm passing you. Hold on. Okay, hold on.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Something ain't right.
Right, like, so I would just, I don't know, that's a complicated relationship in itself
Yeah.
with that person, but also like just working out. And like you said, like now in your adulthood, you count yourself, or you catch yourself trying to restrict yourself from things
Yeah.
that is not necessarily healthy, but in your brain it is, because it was installed as
Hmm.
healthy.
Crazy, huh?
Unfortunate.
Yeah. So we're talking about that. So that's one of the big significant moments that I had. But another big significant moment that we both equally had, and we touched base on it last episode with the boundaries, planas.
Oh yeah, the writing in a book, copying a book in a notebook.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Tell me what made it bad being in the foster system about that, discipline wise, because they can't hit us.
Yeah, I feel like y'all done messed up, because I remember, like I said, like the planas, a lot of it was like, yeah, like, oh, you're talking back. But like I said, we already kind of touched history. I really wasn't. I was just speaking my mind, but I guess. And for other things, right? But there was boundaries were crossed. And like we mentioned in the last episode, like, like our sleep, like we wouldn't go to sleep until 12, 1, and it was a school day, at least for me, because I was the one mostly getting in trouble. So I would be like in the dining table at like 1, 2 in the morning,
Or
or 12,
outside.
1, or yeah, outside. Now there is a specific time, and you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, that's actually sick. Now that I'm thinking about it, no, yeah, I'm finna get into this, because no.
Ooh. Are you gonna talk about the coyote?
Yes.
So there's, well, coyote is coyote, no?
Coyote,
I was
yeah.
gonna say there's a legend out there, but
But
no.
no, that's the chupacabra you're thinking about. No, he didn't say the chupacabra. No, he said
The
the coyote.
chupacabra is the
There you
legend.
go. But yeah, the
Yeah,
coyote. So
the coyote.
basically, one night, I was doing planas, and it was
Mm-hmm.
outside, and it was already dark, it was already late, and they had these like porch lights on.
Mm-hmm.
They kept them on so I could see, so I could copy the book. And so fast forward, or the foster dad starts messing with the lights.
Mhm.
At this point, everyone is basically sleeping. Like my sister's inside, no one's outside with me. It's late, it's dark, and he starts flickering the lights, turning them off for a couple seconds, then turning them back on. And then he would sit there and like through the door, he would be like, "Oh, like el coyote, like it's coming," and why would you do that to me? Like, why would you do that to me? So much so that he would literally like he would come outside, and I remember. Do you remember how there was like trees in the back of our house, like in that
Yeah.
alley?
Yeah.
He would sit there, and at one point, I think they cut it down, but at one point when it was still standing, it was like a big old tree. It was like huge, and he grabbed the scoba, the broom, and he was like, "Oh, like the coyote's coming, like it's coming." And I remember he grabbed the stick, the scoba, and he was kind of like messing with the tree,
Okay.
basically taunting it to come get me. And then he would go back inside, and I would be sitting there screaming, petrified, because I'm like, oh my god, like. And then, like I said, the lights turning on and off. That's probably why I'm scared of the dark.
Oh, we're both scared of the dark.
Because what would and I remember, and this is what I'm saying, like I feel just thinking about it now, like it's sick. But I went up to, I guess I was crying and stuff, and like begging to get inside, like,
Mhm.
and I'm pretty sure you remember this, but he always made it a joke afterwards. But like, I guess I was there, and I was like, I'm sorry, like I won't do this again. Like, please let me in, like, because he remember the porque yo sí te quiero, porque yo sí te quiero.
Yeah.
And I guess I told him that in English. That means like, oh, but I do love you, I do love you. Like basically like pleading to let me in because I thought the fucking coyote was gonna get me.
Yeah.
And after that, like I said, like it was like a joke. But this is what I'm saying, now that I'm thinking about it, that's sick. I was actually scared. I don't want to say I was fighting for my life, but in that moment I thought I did. Like you literally
Mhm.
illustrated and painted this picture so good for me, like that it was in the tree and it was gonna get me, and you just left me here. Mind you, we had already done dealt with fucking abandonment issues and shit. Now you're leaving
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I done been left in a fucking house with people I don't know. That was already danger that I accept. Now you're telling me there's a wild beast in the tree trying to get me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah, I remember those nights of just it would be late and you would and then I'd wake up because the door would open from my room and then you would barely be coming in. And I
Yeah.
was out for hours and you would barely be coming in and then school was the next morning.
Or
Oh,
sometimes I would be like if I fell asleep inside, and I think that's why they would put me outside is because like it was already late, dude. I'm tired, like on top of
yeah.
school. Then it was a school night the next day. Like I'm tired,
Yeah.
and there would be times where like if I'm doing planas inside in the dining table, I would go to sleep. Because
Mhm.
before we used to do them in the room, but then I would end up falling asleep. So they moved me to the dining table, and then I'd fall asleep at the dining table, and they would put me outside because it was like for like cold, or not cold, but like fresh, so it would like keep me up or whatnot, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't go to sleep outside. So I think that was the reasoning for it.
Yeah, it was.
But like even me falling asleep, like I remember I would get scared, like they would wake us up, like he would often like hit the table,
Mhm.
be like parate, like, and I would just get shaken up, and then I'd get yelled at for going to sleep when it's like, dude, I'm tired. And he's like, tú no te vas, like you're not leaving until you finish at least this amount. And then
Mhm.
I would be like, okay, okay, and then I'd go to sleep, and then yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I can't even. Those planas were traumatizing in itself, but adding an extra layer of being outside in the dark, having the lights flicker, um, then just playing with the scoba, the broom, to make it seem like he was like antagonizing the coyote that was
And
outside.
then leaving me after, and
Yeah,
then like I said, like it was a constant mockery. He would constantly make that like, oh, like, do you remember? Do you? Yes, I remember. But
yeah,
like, I don't know. Like, I'm really getting flashbacks, and I remember like he would really be laughing at that shit. Like that shit was funny.
yeah,
Like it was cool, and it's like, dude, like that was like my inner. No, that was my child self, like literally pleading with you.
yeah. Yeah.
saying like, "Oh, but like I love you, like please don't do this to me." Like that's so fucked up. That's so sick. I don't care.
No, it is. I agree with you. And I think one of the main things that with these stories that I would love to reiterate to the audience is just like social workers, you drop off these foster kids in this home and you don't get to see all that they're experiencing behind closed doors. You only get to come once a month or every other week and hear the report that the foster parents are telling you.
Mhm.
And no one is bothering to ask the child like what is occurring, because
Or believing the
or
child.
believe in the child too, because this happens like the foster parents aren't able to physically abuse us, but emotionally, mentally,
Mentally.
psychologically, they do that damage. And in just these 2 3 stories that we've shared, like, you see the psychological damage that's occurring. The fact that you're pleading to him and telling him, I love you, like, that's that's so crazy to me that you had to throw out your love for him to have sympathy for you, and not
And he
even then
laughed.
not even have sympathy because he laughed at you
Yeah, he
and would
left me
make fun of
outside.
you.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
That's
crazy.
sick.
It's
That's
yeah. Ugh. Yeah. That's dang.
I really don't like that. Like it's like
Yeah.
actually sick. But anyways, trying to move forward.
I'm trying to think of like one other experience that we both mutually shared because with the planas.
Oh,
Ooh.
sorry. You before you go on to that, you were on a roll talking about like social workers, how like you guys only come and know what they're saying from the report on a monthly basis or on a biweekly basis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to
Reiterate.
reiterate it and basically like agree with what you're saying, but also you had touched base on like how sometimes yes we will get not permission, but we'll get the chance to speak to the workers and tell them like our side of the story.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of the times, because we are the kids, it's mostly like it's the word of the foster parent before it is yours.
Mm.
And I don't think it should ever be that way.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, these people have a job because of who? Because of us being in the system. Therefore, we should be favored and we should be like, we should be heard
Yeah.
and not overlooked because oh an adult should know better than to lie, an adult should know better than to hold
Mm.
accountability. But in a lot of cases, and at least I have a lot of personal situations with foster parents, that it it's not that it doesn't exist, but it's not being practiced.
Just because a person is an adult doesn't mean that necessarily their morals or what an adult should be, because like I love the fact that you just said an adult shouldn't lie. An
Mhm.
adult should be creating a safe space for the child.
Mhm.
An adult shouldn't be using their words to psychologically hurt a child.
Mhm.
But in these cases, just with the eating disorder on my end, words were used and it really affected me. Just like the fact that, to keep a child out knowing that school day is the next day and to flicker the lights, like an adult shouldn't be doing that, but they did.
Mhm.
And just because someone's an adult doesn't mean necessarily that they have it all together. We don't all have it together. A child doesn't have it all together. An adult, I've met so many people who are into their grown age who don't have it together,
Mhm.
who don't have it together,
Mhm.
no matter the age. And I'm like 24 and I know more than they do. It's crazy to me. So age really really don't matter.
And it's so sad because I feel like it's gonna progressively get worse. And I'm only saying that not because I'm trying to be negative Nancy. I believe in that that there's good and that there's good, great foster parents out there, and we've had a couple of those in our lives.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But nowadays, because there's so many kids getting put into the system, becoming a foster parent has been the easiest it's ever been. From the last
Mhm.
conversation I had with someone, they had said basically like I think before you would take classes and it would at least take like at least a couple months to get your background check, to go to classes,
Yeah.
to they would come inspect your home, all these things. And now it's like it's becoming very easy. I think it probably takes like If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if I heard right. I don't know if it was like 2 days or 2 weeks, but it was definitely two somethings. Hopefully 2 months. I mean, the longer the better. But that isn't. I feel like people that are gonna be foster parents, like you really, really need to understand what you're getting into, because these are not regular kids. These are kids
Mhm.
that have already been exposed to crazy stuff from a young age, that their development is already being challenged,
Yeah.
and you need to be especially patient. Like, I don't believe all parents or all foster parents should be parents. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh,
Like,
oh, please. Please. If you do not have your heart in for these kids, knowing that you're going to be pushed away all the time because they have had no one to trust, and everyone, their mentality is everyone who has ever come into my life has left me. If you do not have that heart of seeing past the fact that they're hurting you and seeing just a child that's hurting, don't get into this profession.
yeah.
Don't even bother letting a child into your home. Don't even bother signing up for the classes. Don't do it, because you are doing more damage to the child that
Then you
has
are
already,
helping, yeah.
yeah, than helping, that has already been have like has had all this trauma XYZ. Like, don't add into it. Like, just don't do it.
Mhm.
Ugh. One of the things that I feel like I want to touch base on, and
Mhm.
before we move into your personal um foster parents examples, because we separated at some
Oh
point.
yeah.
um One, the last thing with this foster family is, do you remember one of the things, again, these foster parents can't hit us, taking away our clothes and our shoes?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Everyone knows it's, I just see this like, in school you have to have, like, you have to dress a certain way to be accepted, or else you're outcasted, like the weird kid, or you know
Or bullied.
or bullied. So we would have bands for school. We would they Foster parents are given an X amount of money to buy us clothes for school, and like they are they're given an X amount of like something
So you mean
from
to
their
tell
paycheck.
me, with the money that they had for me, they could have been giving me some cute tops and
Oh,
cute
I don't think
stuff.
they get that much,
No,
sister.
no, no, but I'm saying, like, I mean, the allowance that's given, it's an amount, right? But I'm
Right.
saying, like, what they chose to do was give us, like, buy you those ugly ass shoes.
Oh
They
yeah.
could have got you some Vans.
Yeah, could
That's what
have.
I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying you could have got me some expensive things. No, but like, Sheen, $5. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
cute versus a freaking, what was it, like a crusty top that I would never wear. You get them? That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
you mean to tell me you had the money to buy me my stuff, and you decided to go for something just that's not cute? Like, whatever. That's just, side note. Anyways,
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
Well, yeah, they would get that. So they would buy us clothes. Um, say what you want to say, but I still love Ross. But they would take us to Ross.
Yeah,
We would get our clothes there. That was the new school clothes that we would get. If we ever,
we picked out our clothes.
no, no, we would never pick
Okay,
out
because
our
I was gonna
clothes.
say, hold on, we went to Ross. Because when the fuck did I pick up my?
No,
No,
they would just come and be like, "Here's your new clothes." And it was some, like you said, some dusty thing that I would never ever
like Ross
wear.
got some cheap things that are
And
cute.
cute. Yeah.
That's what I was meaning to say. Like, no, 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 no,
Yeah,
no.
no, no. But he also had the mentality of like, you're not you're meant to not look cute. You're just supposed to have clothes. If you got clothes, then they're clothes. It don't matter the brand. It don't matter if they fit you
Yeah, or it's your
properly, or
style.
yeah, it don't
Clothes is
matter.
clothes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. So the little bit of pair of things that were cute, um,
Those are seen as like privilege.
yeah, the shoes that were cute, and I would be like have the heart to wear out to school, was seen as a privilege. The moment that we acted out, he would give us, now they're back in style, but back then, those ugly tennis shoes that I would never get caught wearing back then.
Hmm.
ugly, ugly shoes.
Damn near boy shoes. Like they look like
Yeah.
dinosaur steppers.
Yes.
They're
And I have tiny feet. I'm a size
mhm.
6. And these shoes would make, yeah.
I'm a size 5.
Girl, we got tiny
We
feet. Oh,
do.
well, okay.
Sorry.
But he would give us like these shoes that barely fit, like, and I mean like barely fit, not that they were tight. They were like oversized.
Mhm.
Didn't fit
Oh, cuz they
properly.
were moms, huh?
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, so they would make me look like dinosaur feet. Like it was just ugly, and he would give us these clothes that just were ugly. So me and you got smart. We knew how to hustle the system from time to time. I give us that,
When
sister.
did you start doing that?
Oh, you thought I was gonna get caught wearing that?
I started doing it in elementary.
Yeah, I think so. I did too.
Yeah.
We would sneak our, because he wouldn't take away, like they were there. Like they the those
By the
cute
grace of
clothes,
God,
they
thank
were
you.
there in our
Yeah.
closet. We just couldn't leave
With them on.
with them on. Yeah. So I got smart. I was like, all right, they're in my closet. I just gotta walk out with these ugly clothes and these ugly shoes,
And
bet,
transform.
and transform into Barbie.
There you
Like,
go.
so I would grab what I planned to wear at school, and it wasn't in the alley because that was middle school, but in
Yeah.
elementary, I would grab what I wanted to wear, put it in my backpack, put my notebooks and my stuff in
Mhm.
case he happened to check my backpack,
Yeah.
put it in there. I'd go to school, I'd beeline it for the restroom.
Yeah.
And then I would change in the restroom and was like, Barbie became a princess, because I would come out and I'd
Mhm.
have my clothes. And then before I knew that I only had like a certain amount of time when he would pick us
Mhm.
up. So then I would rush it to the restroom, deform myself, and then
Mhm.
be back in those ruggly, ugly clothes.
Did you ever get looked like by your classmates? Like, hold on.
Yeah, like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Something ain't right.
yeah.
A
Like,
girl had to do what she had to do. Like, and then when I went into middle school, and
mhm.
our middle school was from 6 to 8, so then
Mhm.
at some point we were
Yeah,
we were in the
yeah.
same school. Then together, because our middle school was closer, it was like literally a block away, so we would walk to school together. And when he would take away our clothes, me and Wendy, there was like an alleyway right before school, and I
Mhm.
love that alley, man. I love that alley because it was right before school. That means we didn't have to walk past people to
Mhm.
the bathroom. Me and her would, like, one of us would keep an eye,
Oh
a
yeah,
lookout,
for like cars
yeah,
and
or
people.
anyone, just in case he would happen to, because he had like
Mhm.
a bright yellow truck, so it was hard
Mhm.
to miss. Just in case any, like, one of us saw something wasn't right.
Mhm.
So I would keep an eye out. She'd change quickly. Then she would keep an eye out, and I changed quickly, and then we'd both walk to middle school, and then again we'd rush it back,
Mhm.
de-change, and then head home in those ugly clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, traumatizing, huh?
I'm just remembering. I don't know if I ever got caught. Like,
Oh no, we never got caught.
no. Yeah.
Uh-uh. By the grace of God, we
I
never got
remember my
caught.
little pink glittery shoes. I was like, that's what I wanted to wear. And I don't remember what fucking shoes I had. Oh, I think I had those Puma ones. And they weren't like, they were. If y'all have ever been to the Ross shoe section, y'all know them shoes is not. Puma is more like Puma. Okay, they're not. Yeah, no. And they were
Yes.
ugly. They look like ballet shoes, just gray and without the cute little ribbons.
Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know what that
Yeah,
was
it
about.
was. Yeah, that was just another psychological, like, trauma that they instilled in us. And again, like, no one ever bothered to, like, and we were with them for 9 years, 6 years during my adolescence.
And you know what? I have something to say since we were talking about the freaking clothes. And I don't
Uh-huh.
know if you have anything else to say about this chapter in our life,
Uh-huh.
but like I mentioned before in previous episodes, yeah, there you go. Episodes, clothes has always been an issue with me. And growing up, and I just want to say this, okay? I am a child. I am a kid that is growing up. It is not my fault. that our genes are a certain way. It's not our fault that, like my sister said, like these hips is from our grandma. Okay, don't play. This body is from my mother. This you know what I mean? And I remember in that household, it was the first time I ever experienced it, where they were like, you, because of your body, you can't wear this, or you can't like certain, like I think like leggings I wasn't allowed to, and that was
Mhm.
like the thing. Jeggings and leggings were like popular at that time.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why? I was like, oh, it's because I remember they told me, the foster mom had told me, like, your body is a blessing but a curse at the same time. Like, beautiful, but it could also bring like the wrong and like
Ugh,
attention.
ew.
And I understand,
Ew.
I understand what you're trying to say,
No.
but I am a kid.
Yeah.
Your brain is sick for even thinking that way. And I'm not saying they were thinking that way, but I'm just saying, like, if adults feel that way about a child dressing, like I said, like I had leggings, why are you even looking in the first place? You're sick. You get what I'm saying? Don't try to make me feel like I'm the issue and I should be ashamed of what I wear and
Mhm.
what I don't. Like, if I was wearing something like this and I was young, okay, then get on me because I'm young and I shouldn't be dressing like that. I understand. But if it's something that's just like, if
Leggings.
she wears leggings but she don't got this, it's not an issue. But because I have this and I wear leggings, it's an issue, and then now I'm being sexualized. That's not okay.
Yeah.
That's very uncomfortable. And like I said, we had different experiences when it came to like body and like weight and stuff. You were dealing with that, and I was more so dealing with like being sexualized
Nice.
from a young
Yeah.
age. But that's not, yeah, please don't do that. If you're a foster parent, like, you shouldn't even be, I don't care, you shouldn't even be looking at the child like that
Yeah.
or telling them what, no.
Yeah.
Unless it's some booty shorts up there, then yeah, like, hey, but I don't think
To make feel a certain way based on just how your body naturally is.
yeah, and I was growing. Like, I was like 3 years younger than you. So
Yeah.
imagine that. Like,
That's
I'm
crazy.
confused. Why are you telling me this? Like, I'm barely noticing changes in my body.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So for you to tell me what's going on, it's just like, are you staring? Like, it's
Yeah.
just uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. Horrible. All right, sister. So we talked about the psychological, the mental,
hmm
the clothes that that they would do.
Sneak in and out of
Yeah.
school. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about, because people are probably thinking, okay, well, I mean, yeah, that's bad, but what's bad about that in the system? Birthdays.
hmm
How did birthdays really impact you being in the foster system?
I feel like birthdays and holidays, two different reactions.
Mm,
Birthday, I really wasn't thinking about biological family. It was more so like about me.
okay.
And I feel like birthdays were almost treated like an option. Like, and I get it, like, oh, based off of your behavior, we're going to have a party for you or something. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But or like a cake, cuz it was never a party. We never got thrown a party or
Mhm.
any of that by the foster parents, or
Mhm.
by the foster parents. It was more so just like a cake and a happy birthday.
Mhm.
But I remember that there was times in the first foster home where it was almost used as like, even if, like I said, like I was acting up or like speaking or something, like
Mhm.
it was taken away and it wasn't celebrated.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just never thought that was right, cuz when like we wouldn't get like
Pause. Sorry.
but yeah, I never thought it was right, just because the situations that we were put in, from birth till now, like, I don't know. I feel like we're fighters. We're here. We should be celebrated. Our birthdays, that's another year that God has blessed us with life. And like I said, like, it's unfortunate, but a lot of kids that do experience these things, like that we did, like with parent being like in her addiction, well, two parents being in their addiction, like a lot of the times the kids are the ones that pay for those things. Not to say
Mhm.
that we hadn't already with everything we dealt with, but I just
Right.
felt like it's our birthday. The least you could do is celebrate us for, like
Yeah.
still being here and pushing through, because it's not an easy lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then for holidays, I mean, that's like a longer conversation. So maybe do you want to touch on how you felt about birthdays?
Oh, birthdays. I just remember like you would get your cake, right? Like that's very traditional to get your cake and to sing happy birthday. But it was just like to me, it was just made to be feel like another normal day.
Mhm.
Whereas like y- something that people need to understand, especially if you're not like used to being in the foster system, is that you don't get celebrated often.
Or
Like
equally as other kids that may be related to those people.
exactly. So it's just like for me it was like birthdays just yeah, it just was another day and it was like you they sing happy birthday and that was it.
Mhm.
And yeah, I do agree with the fact that you said that like or you're made to feel like if like for example, like if a foster parent has their biological child in the same foster home as you, you get to they'd sing happy birthday to you, but then for their biological child, they get a party and they invite friends over, and then there's like a bunch of gifts that they're receiving, and yeah, you're just made to
You're just
feel
there watching, like, okay.
exactly, yeah,
But you got to be grateful because they didn't have to do that, but they did. But it's also just like, I don't know, like, we're just kids, you know? Like, it's not our fault that this is happening. It's not our fault that I'm here, but we feel the disconnect. We feel the difference. We feel the shift. And it is a very sad thing. And then, like, with holidays, I would say for me, that was the hardest thing was dealing with like the holidays passing. I feel like in the system we are constantly surrounded with people and family that isn't ours.
yeah,
And I remember this thing in specific. I was at a different foster home with this, but ties into this conversation because it was Thanksgiving.
right,
And I remember, like usual, we would get nice and presentable for her family, and we would go over there, and it would be all her families, all her aunts, all her cousins, all her nephews and nieces, and all
yeah,
that. And we were just kind of there, like,
yeah,
and I remember.
surrounded by people who had no biological ties to us whatsoever.
Mhm. And for me, holidays didn't feel like a holiday. It felt like
A reminder.
a reminder of what I could have, but I don't.
Oof,
And it's so sad just to think about that alone because it's like telling my inner child like it's not your fault. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
but also in that moment, like you like it's just like so alienating. Like just to be there and see everyone's warmth and love towards each other, and then
mhm,
you're just like no one's consulting with you. No one's, yeah, they, oh, hi, how are you? Da, da, da. But it's just like, what's my family doing? What are they thinking of me? Is there like, do they have a reserved seat even though I'm not pulling up? Like, you know what I know?
oh,
Like, those were thoughts that,
that were happening
uh
in your
huh.
head. You know what's crazy is that you've mentioned this time and time again throughout different episodes of like of these events.
Mhm.
And I think it's so important that for obviously this podcast for is to bring awareness. So just for schools to realize that your foster youth really do struggle the most during holidays, during
Mhm.
those breaks. We're just reminded of like I love the fact that you said like that this is what we could have and we don't. And holidays were just a different level of pain because yeah, you're just being surrounded by these people who in a way I was made to feel like I'm forced into their
Mhm.
holiday celebration and I don't like they're all puzzle pieces and I'm the missing one that no one can figure out where I go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cause it's like you get there and it's just like they're all existing, all laughing.
Mhm.
They have their little inside jokes. I mean, they're family. They know each other, and you're just kind of you're literally there because you're there. Like you're there because they can't leave you at home by yourself. That's what it feels like. That's the best
Yes.
representation. Is like I'm bringing you along because I literally can't leave you home, and there's no like, oh, like come sit, come talk with us, like come like to the family, like feel as one. There was never none of that in my experiences.
Yeah.
It was just very much like make yourself at home and we're here
There's the
for
food
Thanksgiving.
and if
Serve
you
yourself, you
yeah,
hungry.
yeah. And everyone else is having like their own conversations, or all the cousins are in one room together, and everyone's kind of like doing their own thing, and you're just there.
And another thing is like, at least for me, I didn't have a phone until I was in for a freshman in high school.
Mhm.
So all of these things that we're telling you guys about, at least, yeah, from my perspective, and I think for the most part yours, like we had to be present. There was no distractions. So
Yeah.
like, nowadays if you're uncomfortable, what do? Pull out your phone and just start scrolling. Just, fill
Yeah.
your brain with something else, entertain your brain with something else. But there it was almost like you were soaking in what you were in. Like there was, you couldn't escape. I couldn't go outside to have a conversation with who, to do what.
Yeah.
Like I had to be there, and it was yearly.
It was a yearly thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Birthdays, holidays. It's completely different, and yet so isolating and lonely
Mhm.
that they both share.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. Ugh.
So I guess now that I don't know if you have anything else like from that home.
Mm, no, I think this could be a really good transition
Mhm.
into our another foster home.
Mhm.
Um, but this is going to be a part two of the bad in the system. So
Like
stay tuned for that.
behind closed
Behind
doors,
closed doors,
negative.
part two.
Mhm.
Um, before we end this section, because I know a lot of people are probably like, no, don't leave us there. What happened in the second foster
Yeah.
home? Anything that you want to bring awareness of this foster home that you think is very crucial for a parent to hear, a counselor to hear, social workers, anything out of all the stories that we've shared
So far,
so far, because they're gonna be left in a cliffhanger.
I would say social workers prioritize the kid.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that some kids, a challenge with like, lying or
Being defiant. Uh-huh.
but really ask yourself like, okay, like whatever the foster parent tells you, ask yourself like, is there a reason that that this kid could have acted this way that this person isn't telling me? Actually get the full two sides, and don't do it in front of the foster parent, because the foster parents
Oh,
are very good at
please.
interrupting and being like, you see, and the kid never gets their point across, and then they're angry, and that's why we continue with the defiancy.
Yeah.
So if you really want to find an issue and a resolution, give the kid the opportunity privately to have a conversation with you, allow them to feel safe. And the way you do that is by paying attention to their needs. By you sitting there and being present and listening, that tells us as a foster kid, and you're actually doing steps to better or
Mm-hmm.
help our situation. We see action. So it's like, oh, this person is actually like caring, and she's actually like talking to the the foster parent, like more of that when it comes to the system. Like do more of that when it comes to doing your part. And then, I mean, the title of it is behind closed doors, so please be mindful that you don't know what happens, you don't know the severity of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, these are topics and things that happen when the workers weren't around, but it's not just the situation that happens that gives a reaction of like, oh yeah, that wasn't appropriate. But then it, like we said, it's deeper than just the situation. It's the emotional effect that it has, the psychological, like all of those things are also affecting us to a different degree. And if you're sitting here siding with the foster parent, what is that doing for us?
Yeah.
And maybe for the parents, whether you're a foster parent or a new parent or just a parent in general, breathe life into your children, into the people around you. If
Mm-hmm.
like you did a great job like expressing like how they could have went about the whole like like if you do like sweet stuff like hey let's do this, be more encouraging, be more nurturing, be more kind, like, and there's no rush, like kids already feel the need like at a certain age 13 to be like pretty and like all done up and everything, and it's like don't add on to that pressure of them feeling
Oh,
like they're not good
please.
enough or like they're falling short because they don't look like this person. Breathe life into them, don't strip them from it.
Oh, I love that. I'm gonna agree with everything that you said. The only thing I do want to add on to the social worker side of what you said was I love the fact that you said to separate them. Don't ever ask the child's point of view in front of anyone, an
Mhm.
adult. Don't ever do that. Separate them, get their point of view. One of the things that I would add on to that is don't be going to then share to the foster parent what the
Yeah.
child said. Don't be adding fuel to the fire because there's already tension, and there was a reason why there was a need to separate them and to get two different to hear both sides of the story. Don't then go and betray the child that just trusted you with this information and tell the foster parent everything that they said. No, hear both sides, make your own choice, your own opinion. If there's an action of, hey, this is what I'm hearing from both sides, so this is what I think is best to benefit both of you.
Mhm.
Say you, an example would be like, oh, the child is constantly um skipping school.
Mhm.
And the reason that the child is skipping school because you heard from the child is they're taking away my shoes.
Mhm.
Okay, that's a valid reason as to why
Mhm.
you are skipping school. You don't want to be bullied or you don't want to
Mhm.
make to feel less than from your peers. Hear that conversation. Okay, come back, sit down with both the foster parent and the child. So I'm hearing from both that ask the parent, is it true that you take the shoes away from the child if they're being, not listening?
Mhm.
If the parent then goes on and says lies and says, "No, that's not true. I would never do that." The child told you that this is what's happening. Again, like we said it from the beginning, just because you're an adult doesn't mean necessarily that they're
You're
right.
right. Yeah.
So, yeah, an adult shouldn't be lying. But to benefit them, oh, they'll lie. They'll lie
Mhm.
to your face right away.
And be like, "Oh, she's just defiant. Oh, she's just rebellious.
Yeah.
Oh," and we'll get into a very good example of that next
And
episode.
that's why we said we're going to leave you in a cliffhanger.
Mhm.
But if you hear that and the foster parent's telling you this, no, no, I never do that. No, no, no. Okay,
Start looking into it. Start asking questions.
yeah,
Start seeing what's
start
really going
digging
on.
into what the pattern is and why.
Mhm.
The way you're going to reach a child is instead of saying, like, why, instead of constantly yelling at the child or
Going against
the
them.
child,
Show support.
that and find the root of the why.
Mm.
Find the root of the why, and you'll find your answer. Why are you skipping school? Why? I'm
Mhm.
skipping school because they're taking my shoes that I feel good in,
Mhm.
and I don't want to go to school to feel embarrassed.
Or bullied or belittled on
Yeah.
top of home.
Find the root of the why,
Mhm.
and you'll find your answer.
Mhm.
Don't just take the adult side of things. Hear both sides. Hear both perspectives, and then internalize, make your decision. And like I said, trust is a really huge thing when it comes to our foster youths. Don't be then going and spilling my business to the foster parent because you get to go home and worry nothing about me. I get to stay in that household and hear the rash of that foster parent.
Because
So,
little do you know, yeah, you're low key mixing the pot. Because they're going to be like, oh, they told you that. And even though it's right, they're going to have some type of aggression because now their
mm-hmm.
lies coming to the surface and they're not happy about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So excited for next week?
I am. I'm excited to spill my tea. And yeah.
We'll be in the same clothes,
Yeah.
but to leave you in suspense,
Hmm.
you think this foster parents were bad? Foster parent M?
And foster parent I, and whatever else comes into mind,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we got something for you.
So stay tuned.
Hmm. We'll see you
Bye.
guys next week. Bye.